everyone, welcome to all 4 e-learning classes, session 6 of chapter 2, that is breathing and exchange of gases, session 5, chapter 2 session 5 we have seen earlier. Now it is session 6, second chapter, breathing and exchange of gases. Right. So far we have discussed what are the pulmonary volumes and pulmonary capacities. Regarding that, what I told you is in terms of the definition, in terms of the volumes, in terms of the equations are all very important. So in this connection, the inspiratory capacities can be written as inspiratory capacity, the volume of air that a person can inspire after the normal expiration is what inspiratory capacity, which can be written as TV plus IRV, TV plus IRV. Look at here, inspiratory capacities can, the equation for inspiratory capacity is tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume. Next, the expiratory capacity. Expiratory capacity can be the tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume. The inspiratory capacity is equal to tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume. Next, expiratory capacity equal to tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume. Next, functional residual capacity refers to, functional residual capacity refers to, the equation for this is residual volume plus expiratory reserve volume. Next, the vital capacity. Vital capacity can be seen as, we have discussed the volume of air that a person can breathe in after forcible expiration, or else the volume of air that a person can breathe out after forcible inspiration is a vital capacity, which can be written as, the equation is IRV, inspiratory reserve volume plus expiratory reserve volume plus the tidal volume is all what we name it as vital capacity. I repeat, vital capacity is equal to inspiratory reserve volume IRV, expiratory reserve volume ERV, and tidal volume TV. Next, the total lung capacity, TLC, total lung capacity. Total lung capacity is equal to TV plus IRV plus the ERV plus RV. Look at here, TV plus tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume plus expiratory reserve volume plus residual volume. In terms of the definition we discussed, the volume of air, the volume of air that lungs can accommodate after the forcible inspiration is what name it to be the total lung capacity, which is tidal volume in terms of the equation tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume plus expiratory reserve volume plus residual volume. Now let's see, are there any the calculations changes can we see? Yes, total lung capacity. We see there are 2 or more combinations of the volume. Is it right? Here the tidal volume and the IRV is added. So 2 volumes here, TV and ERV, 2 volumes here, 3 volumes in the case of vital capacity. IRV, ERV, TV is equal to vital capacity. So IRV, ERV, TV is nothing but vital capacity. So TLC can be named as vital capacity plus RV in terms of equations. Next, let us see whether any possibilities are there. IRV, ERV plus TB equal to vital capacity plus residual value. Next, let's see whether it can be RV and ERV is FRC. These two together, what we see is FRC, functional residual capacity, plus TB and IRV is equal to inspiratory capacity. Is it right or not? थोड़ा zoom करो भाई. Inspiratory capacity plus FRC, functional residual capacity plus inspiratory capacity is nothing but the total lung capacity. So total lung capacity is equal to the inspiratory capacity plus functional residual capacity. This is also can be seen inspiratory capacity plus the functional residual capacity. Total, the tidal volume plus inspirator reserve volume plus expirator reserve volume plus residual volume. So inspiratory capacity plus FRC can be the total lung capacity. So these are the various equations we can see. The case with the capacities. Capacities where inspiratory capacity, expiratory capacity, functional residual capacity, vital capacity, the total lung capacity. Its inspiratory capacity can be termed to be the TB plus IRV. Equation wise, also questions important in terms of the NEET. Expiratory capacity TB plus expiratory reserve volume, functional residual capacity residual volume plus expiratory reserve volume, vital capacity inspiratory reserve volume plus expiratory reserve volume plus tidal volume, total lung capacity tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume plus residual volume. Can the any possibilities? Yes, total lung capacity VC. What the VC refers to? TB plus IRV plus ERV is VC. So total lung capacity is equal to vital capacity plus residual volume, and it can be said to be inspiratory capacity TB plus IRV, and ERV plus RV is equal to FRC. This is what total lung capacity is equal to TB plus IRV plus ERV plus RV, or else vital capacity plus RV, or else inspiratory capacity plus FRC, functional residual capacity. Now, after this pulmonary volume and pulmonary capacities, we move on to the topic named to be the exchange of gases. Exchange of gases. Exchange of gases. Generally, the exchange of gases where we see exchange of gases depends on, already we discussed that the exchange of gases depends on the partial pressure of the gases, partial pressure of gases, solubility of the gases, respiratory surface area, distance traveled by gases. These are all what influencing the exchange of gases. So, this exchange of gases, what we learn is, before discussing that, how the exchange of gases takes place. The exchange part is nothing but, we have discussed two parts. One is the conducting part and another is the exchange part. The alveoli of lungs is lined by means of the simple squamous epithelium and also lined by means of the blood capillaries, and also by means of blood capillaries, also by means of blood capillaries. Look at here. Basically, the exchange of gases takes place at the alveoli of lungs. Alveoli of lungs are lined by means of The simple squamous epithelium, this is the simple squamous epithelium. Next, this is the blood capillaries. Blood capillaries. So exchange of gases between the alveoli and the pulmonary capillaries, and vice versa, pulmonary capillaries and alveoli of lungs. It takes place through respiratory membrane, respiratory membranes, respiratory membrane. Now, how the respiratory membrane is formed? Respiratory membrane diameter is 0.2 millimeter. A respiratory membrane is the combination of the simple squamous epithelium and its basement membrane. Next, the blood capillaries lined by, earlier we discussed that epithelium is playing a vital role in all the parts. So, blood capillaries are internally lined by means of simple squamous epithelium, which is named to be the endothelium. So, the blood capillaries, endothelium plus its basement membrane, basement membrane. So, the simple squamous epithelium, it's a basement membrane. What do you mean by basement membrane? Epithelium is epithelial cells are laid upon the basement membrane, through which the nutrients are supplied to this, as it is avascular. So, respiratory membrane is thin. The more it's thin, the more easy diffusion. Generally, the respiratory membrane which is the combination of simple squamous epithelium and its basement membrane, and blood capillaries whose simple squamous is endothelium and basement membrane. What forms the respiratory membrane, which is about 0.2 millimeter of the thickness? Since it is very thin, the easy exchange of gases takes place. Now the question is, how this exchange takes place? Exchange of gases depends on, one, the concentration gradient, that is the partial pressure of the oxygen and the partial pressure of carbon dioxide. 2, the respiratory surface. Zoom karo ye khare. Next, the third one is said to be, the distance traveled by gases. Fourth one is solubility of gases. Fifth one, the what is called a pressure gradient. There are the factors that influence exchange of gases. The partial pressure of gases, that is both oxygen and carbon dioxide. Next, respiratory surface area, distance traveled by gases, and the solubility of gases. The more the partial pressure of a gas, the more its solubility. The more the partial pressure of gas, the more solubility. And also, it is it needs to travel distance places when it is more solubility, when it is more partial pressure. This is what it influences. Now let's see how these gases are traveled to different parts. That is a tabular diagram now we'll see. Atmospheric air, atmospheric air. Next, oxygenated blood. Before that, the partial pressure of gas at alveoli of lungs. Alveoli of lungs. Next, O2 blood. Deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood. Next, tissues. Gases. PO2 and PCO2. Partial pressure of oxygen. Partial pressure of oxygen at atmosphere, it is 159 mmHg. Partial pressure of oxygen at alveoli of lungs is 104 mmHg. Oxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood carried by the blood vessels that carry the oxygenated blood is none other than the systemic artery. Systemic artery, and we say it is the pulmonary vein as well. Pulmonary vein. So, the oxygenated blood carried by systemic artery and pulmonary vein, where the partial pressure of the oxygen is 95 mmHg. Next, deoxygenated blood carried by the systemic vein and the pulmonary artery. So there is the students misguide. Artery and vein is not that oxygenated blood carrying and deoxygenated blood carrying. The definition of an artery is the blood vessel that carry the blood from heart to different parts is artery. Second point we see is artery carries oxygenated blood to the tissues, which is with more oxygen. It doesn't mean that it doesn't carry the carbon dioxide, remind you. And deoxygenated blood carried by systemic vein, the veins that carry the blood from the tissues to the heart is the veins. That is, two precaval and one postcaval vein we see, which is the major and which have a branches. Renal vein, phrenic vein, likewise in the same way the artery, the phrenic artery, renal vein and spermatic vein. Next, the spermatic artery, ovarian vein likewise. So, the systemic vein and pulmonary artery. Pulmonary arteries start in the right ventricle. So, in the right ventricle, right side of the heart, the deoxygenated blood is present, which is brought about by different parts, right side. The different veins that collect the blood from the tissues is precaval and postcaval vein reach into the right atrium to right ventricle. So, pulmonary artery which bifurcate into two branches and pump the blood into the lungs, pulmonary artery. So, it carries what? Deoxygenated. Systemic veins, the one that are bringing from the tissues. And here the partial pressure of oxygen is 40 mmHg reduced. and tissues 40 mmHg. Oxygen, partial pressure of carbon dioxide 0.03 Vc, and alveoli of lungs 40 mmHg. At O2 blood it is 40 mmHg. Deoxygenated blood 45 mmHg. So here now you clear here, and 46 or 45 we can say. Look at here. Oxygenated blood is carrying more the oxygenated blood with more of the partial pressure of oxygen. It doesn't mean that it doesn't carry the carbon dioxide, but low, that's what it is, an oxygenated blood. Next, deoxygenated blood is with the more of the carbon dioxide partial pressure when compared with the oxygen. So this is at the tissues. At tissues, the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is more. Why? Oxidation of food substances liberates the carbon dioxide, so carbon dioxide partial pressure is more at the tissues. Now, the exchange of gases. It is traveling from the atmospheric air to the tissues. That is, atmospheric air 159, always the gases diffusion from higher partial pressure to lower partial pressure. Lower partial pressure indicates the demand is more. So at tissues, the oxygen partial pressure is low, so oxygen is supplied. Oxidation of food substance takes place and liberates the carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide partial pressure is more at the tissues. That's the reason why it moved from tissues to atmosphere. So oxygen partial pressure more in the atmosphere and low in the tissues. So it is drifted 159, 104, 95, 40 mmHg. So it reaches to the what is called tissues, and oxidation of food substance takes place. Once the oxidation of food substance takes place, the carbon dioxide liberated from tissues diffuse into the systemic veins. From systemic veins, that is the deoxygenated blood carried to the lungs, and from there it is diffused out. This is about exchange of gases, and still some information is required that we'll see in the next class. Thank you.